So if you've ever managed a network, you know the feeling, right? That endless flood of security alerts. But what if most of them are just noise? From totally legitimate software updates. Today, we're going to dive into a really powerful tool that helps you bring some order to that chaos so you can focus on the stuff that actually matters. Oh yeah, we have all been there. Your browser updates itself and bam, security pop-up. Your Office suite gets a patch and all of a sudden the firewall is asking you a million questions. It's called alert fatigue and it's a huge problem because it makes us start to ignore the real threats. But what if there was a way to just tell your system, hey, I trust this app, just leave it alone? So here's our game plan. We'll start with the problem itself, that alert overload. Then we'll peek under the hood to see how the monitoring actually works. And then we get to the good stuff, creating a trusted VIP list for your apps, using some advanced tricks to make it smarter, and finally, learning how to manage the whole thing like a pro. So how does this whole thing work anyway? Well, at its heart, the system is actually pretty simple. It's something called network application monitoring. All that means is it keeps a watchful eye on any application that tries to talk to the network, and it asks one simple question. Have any of your core files changed since the last time I saw you? Now, when a change is detected, the system doesn't just freak out. It takes one of three actions that you've already configured. As the admin, you get to choose between ask, block the traffic, or allow and log. And each one has a very different impact on both your user and the system itself. Okay, and this is where the real strategy comes in, because each of these actions is a trade-off. Ask basically puts the decision in the user's hands, which, can totally stop their workflow. Block is your most secure bet. It stops the app cold, but it logs the event for you. And then there's allow and log, which is kind of like a silent observer. It lets the app run without a hitch, but it still gives you a complete audit trail. It's always this balance, isn't it? Security versus productivity. All right, so how do we stop all these constant alerts for the apps we already trust, like our web browser or system tools? The answer is the unmonitored application list. The best way to think about this is as your VIP list, or, in security speak, a whitelist. It's a special group of applications that get a free pass from all this constant checking. And this screen right here, this is your command center. Anything you put on this list is now considered unmonitored. So when an application on this list changes, like during a normal update, the system just looks the other way. No pop-ups, no blocked traffic, no pointless log entries. This is exactly how we cut through the noise. So how do we actually get an application onto this VIP list? Well, it happens in one of two ways. You can either add it manually, if you know exactly what you're looking for, or you can use the system's brain to just pick from a list of apps it's already found out there on your network. So the first method, using that add button, is super straightforward. It pops open this little dialog where you can type in the full file path, or even just the name of the executable, like iexplore.exe. You can also use wildcards here, which is pretty handy, and we'll get to that in just a second. This is great for those quick surgical additions. Now this other option, the Add From button, this is the real pro tip. This opens up a powerful little search tool. So instead of typing a path by hand and maybe making a typo, you can actually search your client machines, find the exact application that's running, and add it to the list with just one click. It's way faster, way easier, and a whole lot more accurate. Okay, adding apps one by one is fine for a few things, but it's not very efficient, especially in a big environment. To really get a handle on this, we need to work smarter, not harder. And that is where wildcards and system variables come into play. They let us create these broad, adaptive rules. And the key to all this power is the humble asterisk. In this world, it's a wildcard. It can stand in for any character or string of characters. And when you use it the right way, it lets you turn a super specific rule for just one file into a massive, sweeping exclusion that can cover thousands of files all at once. And this is where it gets really powerful. When you combine system variables, which are just shortcuts to common folders like %windir%, with a recursive wildcard pattern like that double asterisk, you're not just excluding a single folder. Oh no, you're excluding the entire Windows directory, the entire program files directory, and every single subfolder and file inside them. These default rules are absolutely crucial. They're what keep your own operating system from triggering alerts 24/7. So creating your VIP list is just step one. Any good admin knows that these lists need to be managed and maintained.
Applications get retired, policies change, and sometimes you need to temporarily keep an eye on something you used to trust. So let's talk about managing these rules the right way. This brings us to a really important distinction, the difference between just unchecking a box and actually hitting delete. Unchecking an entry, disabling it, is temporary. The rule is still in your list, but monitoring for that app is turned back on. This is perfect for troubleshooting. Deleting, though, that's permanent. The rule is gone forever, and if you ever need it back, you have to create it all over again from scratch. And just like that, you've gone from being buried under a mountain of alerts to being in complete control of the signal. By intelligently building and managing your unmonitored application list, you slash the noise. And that doesn't just make your day less stressful, it makes your whole team more efficient and actually strengthens your security by letting you focus on real threats. But this brings us to one last crucial question. This VIP list, this whitelist, is an incredibly powerful tool for making life easier. But it's so important to remember that every single exclusion you create is a calculated risk. So as you're building your list, always ask yourself, is this rule making my life easier at the expense of security? The goal, as it always is to find that perfect balance.